Hello, everyone. We're live once more, and let's go to our coaching session tonight. Straight into it. Gianni's ready. Okay, he's actually running a little bit late for the first time. So tonight, tonight we are going to cover the telemetry for our race, for next week's track, which is Oulton Park, Fosters. And that's all we want. Virtual racing school. And I was doing a fast lap earlier today. We got to 3.2. He did a 2.7. So we are right under half a second in the same track conditions, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's below the 1%, but it's still slightly above like 0.5%. So we still have something more to learn. Let me see here. Yeah, this one. And when I look here, we're gonna cover this in the session. But I always like looking myself and seeing, like, you see different brake pressures and peak points. Braking more here, holding more here. The first one was a tricky one as well. It's a tough track. I'm not gonna lie, it's a tough track. The nice thing about this track is that for next week, it's about the same. Like there's like one corner. So next week or the following week is gonna be the same start. We come down here, but after we do this down, can you see? You can see it. Now you can see it. So after we come start here, we come all the way here. Once we are here, we open up. There's like a lot of things going on here. Then we come back. I believe we come back right here. We come back like this direction. So we can actually see in iRacing. We can actually see in iRacing. Let's see. So this is Foster's. This International. So we don't have this part here, because it'll become like this all the way there, then come back and connect here. So right now it cuts in here. And I'm thinking about maybe like racing a bit later today. Let's see how the sessions are going so far. $32.3, like, yeah, we're struggling to get that time though. Yeah, we can do this like 32.4, 32.5. Like this was them. 31.8. Ready. Coach is ready. I'm ready. So let's all be ready together.
Alan, good evening, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you, bro. Good, thank you. How's your week been so far? Not too bad?
Not too bad. Can't complain
Too
about
bad?
life, but like in
Okay.
iRacing, it's been not so happy, I guess.
Not so happy. Well,
Yeah.
it's been a bit of been an interesting week in Virginia, has it?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Virginia.
Okay.
It's more like, but I think it's more like me than the track
Okay.
itself.
Sure.
It's like there
Okay.
is a gap in pace sometimes, and
Okay. Yep.
some guys are like
Yep.
a full second faster than I am there, which is okay. Like I won't
Okay.
be able to compete with them, but
Yep. Yep.
I was looking like we had 3 races or like
Okay.
6 races. I won the first one, which
Okay.
was like, okay, I started the week winning, so like it's only
Okay.
downhill from here, right? But then
Yeah.
I had a very bad qualify, and I made a silly mistake. Um,
Yep.
then the following race, I was holding P4. Like it was a good race. We're gonna have like a good fight towards the end because the guys behind were catching up to me. Then P10 had the great idea of crossing the racing line, and he had just crashed the
Ah.
wall, and he took me away. Like
Yep.
I should have
Oh,
smashed the
brilliant.
brakes, but I didn't. So that was
Yeah.
Monday.
Okay.
Yesterday we started with a
Yes.
P3, I think. So okay, like back to the podium. Then I had a
Okay.
race. I was
Yep.
P2. I was like cruising. The first I
Right.
was P4 actually. First one was P4.
Okay.
I was cruising as P4, and
Yep.
I spun by myself, lost a bunch of positions. Then went back on track, spun by myself, lost more positions.
Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
then
Yep.
the last race, I was cruising as a P2, and like that's easy.
Okay.
Just gonna bring this back home. Nothing like no one ahead of me, no one behind me. It was just like an easy one, and I did
Mm.
it again. So it's like I
Right.
I destroyed 4 of the 6 races. So that's entirely on
Okay.
me.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, you know, it's always nice to analyze things like that because at the end of the day, I think, you know, in those instances, that's when you stop thinking. You know, that's when you start to just relax, and that's when you start to just drive your race, and you don't really think about too much when you're doing it, right? You're not under pressure. You're not you're not really forced to push the pace. You're just kind of driving. You're just doing your consistent sort of things, and you're just pushing the pace, and you're just driving, right? You're just driving a race car around a circuit almost in a way. Now, what were moments when you look back on it and say, okay, well, why did that happen? What caused me to spin out? Was it me clearing the brake too quickly? Was it me just being restless and not following my sort of braking structure? Was I braking too softly? Was I carrying too much speed in and hesitated, or was it just genuinely just a bit of a brain fart almost in the moment, and then it just caused you to spin, obviously, in that situation.
So my self-assessment of what happened was I was pushing too hard, like for no reason. Like I was
Yep.
trying to get like to be consistent at a fast pace, and I was
Okay.
doing like my best lap. I think was a 32.2, and I saw some guys
Okay.
do like 31 something. So like, can I do like a
Okay.
31?
Yep.
And like in high, of course, like it's just stupid and silly. Like I didn't have to do that. But
Yep.
like you are in the
Okay.
zone, like you are there, and then like let me try
Yep.
like
Absolutely.
1 meter in here, 1 meter before here, like 2% less brake
Yep.
pressure. And
Yep.
sometimes
Okay.
something stupid happens, but you save it. You're just like, oh,
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
like I saved this,
Yep.
nothing happened. But
Yep.
sometimes you just
It does.
go off track spin and
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sure. So one thing that I think, especially in the real life car, and you obviously understand that a little bit. I think for me, like when I would race, for example, and you know, especially in the longer distance races, for example, where you kind of race settles in, and you kind of the field grows apart, and you kind of a little bit like the BMWs, right? Field grows apart, everybody finds their spot, and everybody's kind of in their own place. If you got 3 or 4 guys that are all bunched up together racing, you got the leader that's sitting by himself, and then for example you got yourself sitting in P2. I always find that I used to put myself in that situation and be in that situation quite a fair bit, especially when I first started. That I'd be in, sitting in P2 or P3, and you'd have the leader by himself, you'd have P2 by himself, you had me by themselves, and then you'd have like P4, 5, 6, 7, all sitting by, in a big pack behind me, probably like 4 or 5 seconds behind. Now, yeah, the thing that I used to remember is that whenever I was by myself, I try to always think about it initially as let me try and keep pushing. Let me try and, keep pushing the speed and pushing the pace and seeing what more lap time I can get out of the car here and more track time I can find and all that little stuff. But I think the biggest thing that I started to realize is that, especially in real life, when you're doing stuff like that, you're just burning up more energy. You're just burning up energy that isn't gonna really do you any benefit almost in a way. And that was the biggest thing that I always, as I started to get older with racing, that I started to realize is that especially, you know, when you have these long distance races, especially like the BMs, they're not exactly that long, but mentally and physically they can be quite taxing, especially when you are, like yourself doing, a stream for 3 or 4 hours every single day, and it's not the only race you're going to be doing. you can conserve your energy a little bit and just say, you know what, I'm not going to win here. I'm not going to come third here. I'm just driving my race. And you know what? Okay, the guy ahead of me is going 1 second faster, but even if I was pushing, am I going to get to that pace right now? No, I'm not. I'm going to stay in the exact same spot. I'm going to get the exact same result. And the only thing that it's going to change is by my mind telling my mind that can I do that time or not? That's the only thing that it's going to basically negatively or positively affect you in that sort of way. It's not going to give you more points. You're not going to get more safety rating. You're not going to get anything else. So the big thing that I kind of learned is that when you get into a situation like that, you could push, but don't experiment, right? That's the key in racing. Don't experiment new things.
Yeah.
Do what you know, do what you're used to, and that's what keeps you consistent and keeps you safe, right? When you try to like you mentioned, maybe in situations try to clear the brake by 5% more into the braking zone, you have a snap. Or you try and clear the brake 10 or 15 meters earlier than normal, you oversteer or you understeer or you plow or you get an off track or something happens, right? And that's the beginning of cracks starting to show right there. And when you have little instances like that happen initially, straight away you're like, oh, okay, I'm being a little bit silly here now. Let me just tone it up a little bit. Let me just be a little bit more safer here. So I think that there, and I guess as bad and as annoying as it should be a really nice takeaway from you for this week to sort of say, you know what, at the end of the day, this is on me. I'm making this mistake here. This is me, myself, and I. If it wasn't for this, I'd probably have maybe about 200 iRating more than what I have right now. And at the end of the day, that's just something that you've got to kind of look at and say, you know what, I'll take the blame on that. But realistically, if you never put yourself in that situation where you don't allow that to happen, you never learn, right? And again, that's why I learned about it, because I did it in a real life race before, and I ended up spinning out, and I got bogged, and that was my race, right? And I was sitting in P2, no worries, was getting a podium, no stress. But no, the little young me that tried to be a hero, tried to go and do more, and it ended up not really working, and then I ended up having to spend $1,000 on getting a car cleaned out, and I finished last. So at the end of the day, it was a case of, well, what was it worth it for? But again, it's those experiences that don't cost you anything in the sim. It doesn't make you lose really that much confidence. It's just more so a case of, okay, well, why and how? How I tried something different. Why? It's probably because I saw someone else that was still going faster. So I try to say, okay, well, how can I match it? So I think ultimately at the end of the day, the takeaway from that, even though it's annoying, is going to happen to all of us eventually. It happened to me eventually, and now it's happened to you at that point where you're kind of like at a track that's new for you, where there's guys that have done Virginia North course, God, for seasons probably now. I mean, the North course has been a circuit on iRacing here since I loaded onto the bloody thing back in 2020. It's been there, so it's a very, very well-known circuit by a lot of these guys, and obviously it's just one of those circuits that, yeah, you're learning now as well, and you're trying to get your head around and get used to it, and it's just, yeah, not exactly the easiest one. So I think, yeah, the main takeaway is, man, like whenever you're in that situation, although it is very tempting to try and do more and try and achieve more, if you're by yourself, just drive. Just drive your race, do your thing, and just try and be safe. Because at the end of the day, it's about the long term with it all, as you know so well. And it's the little moments like that that you look back on and you say, you know what, if I was to sit here today, I probably could have been at like 3.4 if it wasn't for those little mistakes, or I could have maybe been a little bit higher if it wasn't for those mistakes. So it's just more so a case of, yeah, you got to look in that instance. So does that kind of give you a little bit of a bit of a realignment with maybe how to feel in those moments, I suppose, in a way? Because yeah, it's always hard. But yeah, I mean, is that an approach that maybe, yeah, you knew about, but probably just now, as you've started to improve, you kind of like, I feel like I've got more confidence in the car. I feel like I can do more, but it's just about making sure you're doing it in the environment where it's not going to cost you the race. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like, and I think was very good timing as well because I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm racing this weekend,
Yeah, yeah,
and my first race, exactly the same thing happened in real life,
yeah,
and that's how I went on the wall. And you've crashed
yeah,
before, so you know
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I think it's the
yeah.
most like once you said it's the best or the worst way to crash someone's confidence is hitting the wall. and that
Yep.
was like 100% it. So this
Yep.
happening right before I go back, because I was practicing like offline on the track that I'm gonna be racing. It's Carolina Motor
Yep.
Speed Park,
Okay.
and I was practicing that like 80%. It's an endurance
Yep.
race. We want to finish this.
Yep.
So how
Yep.
fast can I
Yep.
be here? I can be this fast. So I'm gonna like intentionally break one braking marker before. I'm gonna
Yep.
intentionally go like a little bit slower here, because this is
Yep.
lemons. Like nobody cares. The only thing
Yep.
that the team
Yeah.
cares
Exactly.
is getting their car in one piece as soon as I leave the car.
Yep.
So
Exactly. Yep.
I was practicing that, and honestly, like if you are competitive in your brain,
Yep.
it is hard, and
Yep.
you know that, right? It's hard.
Oh yeah.
You're cruising
It's
in
hard.
second
Yep.
place, and you're like, my fastest lap here is like a 32.5. Can I do
Yep.
32.4? Because there's nothing going on. So you're trying to keep yourself
Yep.
like also focused, not get like
Yep.
lazy and just lose a second for no
Yep.
reason.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
it was, I think, it was good timing. So, but everything you said, I could have not said any better, and I do agree. And I have to bring this thought into the iRacing races, and I have to think more proactively on that after I've been
Yep.
racing, like the second race, the third race, the fourth race,
Mm.
because after
Yep.
some time you're just like, you start getting bored of some things and try new things, but the race is not the place to try.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
like that
No.
thought.
Exactly.
Don't
Yep.
experiment.
No. Exactly. Yep. No. For sure. And I think again it relates to your own words that that I saw on social media the other day. Like when you said if, for example, like BMW invites you out to come and do the race. Imagine if they invited you out to come and do the race for free. They supply the car and everything, and you're doing well, and you do that.
Yeah,
Imagine how you would feel in that situation. That's the approach that you got to kind of have with here as well. If you're in a good spot,
that's true.
if you're in a good position, just keep it cool and don't try and experiment. And it's something that you learn, you make it happen once, and you take it forward, and again, it never happens again. But one thing that for me, in terms of just inside of iRacing, and it's something that, I don't honestly remember if maybe you have it on or off or not, but I use obviously Delta in qualifying, right? Delta for me in qualifying is super duper handy. Back in time, I used to turn that stuff off. I absolutely hated having the Delta on because it would make me go way slower. But now it's my best friend in qualifying. As soon as I get to the race, I turn it off. Right? I don't have it on in the race at all. Never. From that one to the checkered flag, I never have my Delta on. If I'm out in the lead and I've got guys that are behind me, like probably 2 seconds, 3 seconds, I do this approach. But instead of me saying, well, what am I doing with the lap time? Let me just try and find a pace here that I'm comfortable with, not pushing the limit with all the information I know. Let me just compare that to what it does with the delta. Am I losing time? Is it staying stagnant? Is it gaining time, right? And you just kind of develop an approach based on that almost in a way. So like, for example, like if I was leading a GT3 race at Fuji by 1.8 seconds, right? I know, okay, well, I have basically a buffer here of nearly 8 tenths that I can work with before that driver's in the slipstream. So I say, okay, let me give myself 2 or 3 laps here. Let me try and find my groove and see what the reaction is based on that groove to the delta. If the delta goes down 2 tenths, then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to clearly push the pace a little bit more. If the delta stays the same, then I'm like, okay, well, that's sound. That's fine. If the delta obviously seriously goes down, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, clearly I'm doing something wrong here, so I really need to pick up the pace, right? And you kind of judge a little bit off that. But if you've got drivers that are 5 seconds ahead of you and then 6 seconds behind you, or even 4 or 5 seconds behind you, I don't even worry about it at the end of the day. I just drive the drive, and I know that okay, I might lose a couple tenths here, I might lose a couple tenths there, but I'd probably say more times than not they're going to battle each other, so they're probably going to lose another 4 seconds within the next 2 laps, almost in comparison. So it's nothing to even worry about. So you've just got to kind of think about it in terms of a situational, you know, area. But yeah, if you're literally in no man's land and you literally can't even see anybody behind you and you can't see anybody ahead of you, just drive like you're doing practice, but drive like you're doing practice without the experimenting. That's
Yeah,
what it's all about. So yeah, a very important part, and I think something that it's a very important stage to know, especially now as you're again continuously improving and feel like now you're coming up, you're in that kind of middle phase. You're faster than everyone else, but it's still those one or two or three guys that are always that little bit quicker, just genuinely due to track knowledge and track experience and understanding. they have that edge, and that's completely fine, right? But it's something that you've just got to be comfortable with being fine with, and that's completely okay. So I think, yeah, in all honesty, it's just one of those little things, something to keep in mind. But yeah, like you said, I think it happened at a really good time, in all honesty, because yeah, now it says, okay, well, I've got to treat this the same as on the sim, as I would in real life, and I've kind of got to say, okay, well, if I'm in a position where I'm going to get good iRating, I'm not going to lose the car, nothing random's going to happen to me. I've just got to kind of keep that one in mind, right? So, yeah, did you have any questions with that, or is that all pretty good? Does that give you a little bit more confidence in that sort of area to say, okay, this is what I need to do, and this is how I got to do it?
Yeah, no, like I think it's very good. Like the one thing that I do differently from what you said, and I'm gonna stop doing it. Usually, like when I'm close to other cars, I don't have the delta on the screen. But
Okay.
when I have like space ahead of me or like ahead and behind of me, I usually
Yeah.
put the delta on to make sure like I'm being
Okay.
consistent. Like that's how I
Okay.
chase
Yeah.
consistency. But
Yeah.
I'll try to just like as you said, if I have a lot of time in between the cars, I'll just find like a good pace and stay there
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
like hold
Yeah.
there, finish my race P5, P4, P9, doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if there's nothing I can do about it, let's stay consistent and not lose more
Yeah.
positions. So I like that.
Yep, yep, yep. No, for sure. So, look, at the end of the day, I think the way we got to look at it, we won a race, right? I mean, obviously, it shows that we've got the speed. You won a race. You've been getting podiums. You know, realistically, the only races where unfortunately it didn't go the way you wanted it to was the ones that unfortunately we were the worst enemies of ourselves almost in a
Yes.
way, and we unfortunately made a mistake. Without those mistakes, the week would be really good up until this point, by the sounds of it. But again, it's those moments that in the moment are annoying and are frustrating and do kind of give you a bit of a kick up the butt because they do definitely suck. But at the end of the day, it's those moments like that that we've all had at some point, and I guess this is probably the first moment that you've had in a sense where you've actually been very competitive and you've had these moments that now you're like, okay, well, these moments have happened not only once but twice, and now I need to kind of be able to say, okay, well, let's change it. And again, unfortunately, well, not really unfortunately, but fortunately, I should probably say otherwise, I had it at a very young age. And I think when you're young and you have little moments like that, especially when you know that, your family's supporting you with all this sort of stuff, and, without them, you wouldn't be able to do this. It's the moments like that that make you say, okay, you got to put you got to pull your head in here because this isn't, you can't just be going and doing stuff like this, especially if you wanted to make a career out of doing motorsport and doing racing. You can't just be being in P2 and then next minute bog it in the sand, and then that's your whole weekend finish because you made that one little silly mistake,
Yeah.
even though you were in the bucket seat for a podium. So again, we all have the moment. Just whenever it happens, everybody's at a different stage. But yeah, I think that was probably your moment where you can say, okay, like that's where my turning point is now, and let me try and think about it in a different approach. So yeah, no, look, as annoying as it probably is, I think it's probably a really good moment to have because now you've had that moment that I think,
Yeah.
again, like I said, we all have. So I think hopefully that'll be super duper handy for you. But yeah, look. Anyway, besides the point, back to Alton Foster's where we first started out. God, I don't even know now. A few months ago,
Yeah.
realistically,
It
it's
was
been a
January. Yeah.
little while since.
I think
Yeah,
3 months.
yeah, 3 months now. So it's been a little while. I mean, obviously to start with, a lot closer than where we were at the beginning when we first started. I mean, from what I remember, I think we were probably about what 1.1, 1.2 maybe away from each other when we first visited here. In all honesty, to one another, um, and now we're only 4 tenths. So just shows that clearly, everything you've done up until this point has brought you to here. But again, I think you can start to see that, okay, now even when you're coming to this track, there is a gap, but it's more so the gap isn't coming from what you're doing structurally wrong. It's just more so the consistent thing that we've basically been starting to talk about quite a fair bit over the last recent weeks, where we've been, visiting tracks that we've been to already and are revisiting again. It really comes down to, are you approaching it in 100% the perfect way to how I am, for example, or is there little areas that you can kind of slightly adjust it to, right? And I think that's really sort of the biggest thing. Just at every circuit, getting all those little sort of areas that we've discussed absolutely pinpoint perfect, and that's what allows you to find the extra lap time. But when there's just that little difference in comparison to one another, that's where you lose the the 400ths, or you lose just over a tenth here at like T1, or you lose another 400ths, or you lose another 700ths, and when you add it all up, it ends up being up, all up to 4/10 of a second realistically, and then that's where your time's going to be. So, what's your initial feelings here? Obviously in comparison to when you were here last, which would have been obviously right at the beginning of the journey. Uh, what's the difference between already what you're feeling from this situation now to obviously all the way back then, with when we first started, basically, in a way?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things. So the first one, I am really, really happy of how much more handling I have over the car, like how much more comfortable I feel.
Yeah.
So I remember like there is one of the corners that we kind of cut on the inside of the sausage, and
Yep.
if you miss it, like if you go over the sausage, like you are done, you are toast. And last season I was so afraid of that. I was going like on the left side, which was
Yep.
costing me some time, but I could be consistent and I could stay like
Yep.
I know 1 or 2 wheels from that. And this
Yep.
time, like when I was going through the course before seeing like your lap, before seeing the telemetry, I like let me try to cut this here, and I cut it. It wasn't enough track, and I could do it consistently. So that's kind of the car like sliding and having the rotation and feeling the rotation right and understanding when I have to rotate more, when I have to rotate less. These are all
Yep.
things that 12 weeks ago I would not even consider. And I was
Yep.
laughing at myself because I was going over like on the laps, and anytime I would see the ABS kicking in, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this was the track I learned about ABS. I'll never forget that.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's number one.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
like the
Yeah.
how I own the car way more than I used to. We're still in the process of
Yeah.
owning more, but
Yeah.
that's number one. Number two, I'd say I'm still there's one thing that I'm still upset with, and I have to let it go, and I have just to focus on like maybe practicing more than I'm racing, because right now I think I'm racing more than practicing.
Okay. Sure.
But I'm not seeing the gap close as I wanted to close, right? So
Okay. Sure.
we've been
Yeah.
talking about some of these things for a while. My
Mhm.
goal for this season is to be like within zero point 0.5. Last season I got like to the 1% mark. So now I'm
Yep.
consistently
Yep.
like within the 1% mark. But I want to go
Yeah.
down like to 0.5%. So like that's a measurable progress in
Okay.
my mind. And I thought like
Okay. Sure.
a full season is enough. Like a full season, like 12
Yep.
weeks of practice, of
Definitely.
coaching and feedback. But
Yep.
I'm not getting there. Like this is a
Okay.
track that like if 0.5% would be something around like
Mhm.
0.3 tenths.
Okay. Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm still like at the 0.7 percentage. So at
Okay.
least we're below 1, which is good. But
Yes.
week over week, I'm coming back here. I'm between like the 0.5 and the 1%, but I'm not
Okay.
seeing like the trend going down as I wish. So that's kind of the thing that I'm like,
Okay.
what am I like?
Sure.
What can I do right now? And maybe that's not a question for you, but for myself, but or maybe for
Yep.
you as well.
Mhm.
What should I
Mhm.
be doing differently right now so I can like continue making
Okay.
progress in terms of uh, closing on the gap?
Okay, sure. I guess yeah. The first question is there, and then yeah. I mean, obviously I mean, you kind of obviously put that down already yourself. There is, yeah. I mean, obviously with that trend going forward, right? I mean, obviously right at the beginning we had the really big jumps, right? And obviously as it's been progressing every week, you've been finding those really big percentages every single session, and after every track we go to, you definitely find it. But what do you what do you definitely feel like is the difference in terms of the amount of practice that you're putting in now to what you used to be doing? Do you feel like you're putting in as much practice as what you used to, or do you definitely feel like the racing is now taking a bit more priority probably than what the practice maybe has in some case scenarios?
No, I don't think I would compare to before, because like this year
Okay.
I started being consistent. Like I come here every single day, right?
Hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
racing
Yeah.
every single day.
Absolutely.
I'm practicing every single day. But I think
Yeah.
how I'm using my time is not optimized to improve. Like that's my own like
Okay.
perception right now. Like thinking about
Yes.
this track and what's going on. And I know like for
Yeah.
the streams,
Yeah.
people love the races, and
Of course.
that's
Yeah.
like why I've been like trying to over-index on the races. But I think for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
what I should be doing is maybe like coming here 1 hour earlier, and every day putting a full hour of practice on the track before I join the stream, and then on the stream we
Yeah,
race, and then we have fun and we try
yeah,
new things. We improve on
that's it.
racecraft. But right now,
Yeah,
if I'm thinking about it, I'm putting maybe like 2 hours before our session, and then I
yeah,
put like 1 hour after our session. But that's it. That's all the practice I'm
yeah.
putting on the track.
Right. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So, yeah, I mean, look, that's because I do work with a couple guys that do obviously mainly do streaming when they play iRacing and when they're doing this whole journey that's what their main area is focus on is streaming and I definitely know that yeah in terms of a viewer perspective even for me when I'm a viewer watching streams of course as a viewer you always love to watch the racing right that's always the most enjoyable thing but at the end of the day no matter who you are and no matter what you kind of do you still need to practice, right? Everybody still needs their practice at the end of the day. Now, for me, like in my unique position, I mean, back in time, back when I before coaching, took the kind of the big sort of part of my sort of career here. Racing was the biggest thing that I love to do, right? I mean, I'd race, at least a good 4, 5, maybe even 6 times a day. I'd be racing, every single day. And I think the biggest thing that I always remember is that, every single day before any point, before I'd singularly like even put a foot into a race. I'd at least spend an hour practicing every single day. Even if I'd masterclass a track, I'd always still spend an hour of my time practicing, no matter what the day was. And I think no matter how good you get, practicing is still one of the most important things that you can ever do, no matter how good you are. And I think probably in one way or another, when we look at the little things of where the lap time is, as we'll see a little bit here today, where it realistically goes in comparison to me to you, isn't through structure, it isn't through any incorrect applications. It's just more so through the overall application and the timing of what you're sort of doing and just going back and remembering the little basic things that we've talked about in our time. Whereas, for example, if we're braking earlier, we need to make sure we're back on the power earlier. If you're braking later, you're going to be on the power later, right? All the little things like that when you add it up at a circuit like this, it adds up to a tenth or 600ths or 400ths or 200ths. And when you add them all together, there's your 4 tenths realistically, right? So it's all about putting the sort of time into, you know, practicing, practicing, practicing. And even though, you know, you feel like you can get to a very comfortable level, it's through the practicing that, you remember all the little conversations we've had. You remember all the little kind of side notes that we put in and say, oh, okay, am I doing this correctly or am I doing this correctly? And we're very lucky in our situation with, I guess, the approach that you have and I guess the angle that you kind of look at everything at. You do analyze everything very in depth and you do have a very good sort of racer's mind where you think about all the little core areas very very critically and that's something that helps you out quite a lot. And I wish a lot of drivers would have the same approach, but I think it's very much a hard approach to kind of be able to have because you've got to be thinking about it first of all in that right way, which helps us out massively. But again, and as I've always said, when you go and do racing, the driving is the last thing you think about sometimes. And that's a prime example of what's happened this week. When you're racing, you don't think about the little things. And it's when that little thing doesn't be added in, that one time that you do it, that's when you spin out. And that's when then you cost your entire race. And again, that's something for me that I've learned. So, as you'll probably see here today, and you look at little things and you say, damn, like it's that little thing that's costing me like a tenth of a second here, or it's that little thing that's costing me 400ths of a second here. And that's the difference between why, the guys at the front, for example, again, they're able to do it every single lap, they're able to do it consistently, and that's why they can win the races by 3 or 4 seconds, for example. You can match them on lap time, but it's just about getting these little areas right every single time. That's the difference that you have between them and you. And that's the biggest thing that you kind of got to look at. So, do you feel like, I guess, yeah, I mean, the approach really should maybe be, like you said, maybe putting in an extra, maybe, half an hour to an hour in. It doesn't need to be an hour, at least half an hour, I think would be a valuable amount every single day to just sort of put some personal time in, do a little bit of your own sort of individual practice before then getting on a stream, and then you can say, okay, I've done what I need to do. I picked up on the little kind of quirks that maybe I need to fix here today, and obviously now I can go and do racing and make sure that I apply all those things I learned. Would that be probably approach that I guess you were doing before that maybe we should try to add back in, I suppose?
Yeah, I think so. Like what I'm thinking here as we're speaking is like instead of just going doing hot laps, hot laps, hot laps, maybe like I'll break the track down in the sectors, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
I'll set up like an active reset for the first sector, and for the next half an hour, I'll work on that,
Yep.
to
Yep.
exhaustion,
Oh, absolutely.
until like I really
Yep.
master
Yep.
the sector one, until I really master it. And once okay, like
Yep.
now I improved here, like I'm closing the gap here. Let's work on sector two, and then like maybe the next session, I'll make it about sector two, because now also like if I'm taking a half an hour, let's say realistically, it's gonna be like a 25 minute of driving, and I'm spending on like a
Yep.
30-second sector, like a 40-second sector. I'm doing that
Mm.
like 50 times, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then I can like experiment and try different things, and I can put the delta and like be chasing that like delta of the optimal sector, and just seeing
Yep.
like what's working, what's not working. And after doing like
Yep.
a few times, then like before the week starts, I can try to put another fast lap, combining
Yep.
everything, and see if that's helping decreasing
Yep.
the delta.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. So I think that's definitely going to be a way of approach because I think, that'll help you to find that, that 2% or that 3% or that little last margin that you're really sort of looking for. That's where it is. And again, even to this day, I'm still so hyper focused on trying to, maximize those things and really get the most out of it. And that's where, my expertise kind of comes from. But again, to try and do that every single time, every single lap is always super duper tough. But anyway, that's what comes with time. That's what comes with experience. At the end of the day, this is your second time at the circuit. Realistically, as we've been, well, realistically, the first proper time we've kind of visited this circuit once you've understood everything new. And at the end of the day, yeah, you have taken a really big step forward with it, 100%. Is it maybe as much as you really would have wanted to? Maybe not as much initially right now, but after you probably see a few things already here today now, you'll probably say, okay, yeah, look, that's a tenth, that's 400s, and straight away, then it already takes you two tenths back, and then you're already within 2%, right, or 3%, so you're already very, very close there. It's just the little minor things that we're looking at, that is the difference. So when we look at 2-1 here, right? I mean, you look at this and you say, you know what, that looks bloody class, and as it does, it looks absolutely class. I mean, the way you're getting on the brake, the way you're holding the brake, the way you're trailing off, super smooth, no jankiness, looks really, really good, really executed well, and that's great. Now, the one thing that I was sort of saying before that I look at here and I straight away notice is two things. First of all, you get on the brake earlier. That's fine. That's completely fine. No issues at all there. That's not going to be an issue. That's fine. But the problem is, you get on the throttle later, right? Now, the one thing that we've learned is that if you brake earlier, you've got to be basically getting on the power earlier as well. So ultimately, here at the end of the day, you've broken 21 to 29. So you've broken 8 meters earlier, right? So already there in your mind, you should be getting on the power 8 meters earlier than what I am, right? So I pick up the power here. So I picked up the power at 47. You've picked up the power at 57. So I've broken 8 meters later, but then I've also got it on the power 10 meters earlier. So where's your gain? There's no gain, basically, in a way. You just basically, it's a double-edged sword. You lose time initially, you lose time on the exit, basically, in a way, right? And that's kind of what happens here. So the reason why that hasn't worked is this phase right here. It's this phase that we know about so well, where it's kind of like that's that structure that we're trying to approach. What's the approach of the break that we're trying to look at? Are we doing a peak and a hold? Are we doing a squeeze? Are we doing a peak and a trail off? Are we doing like a long hold and then a sort of bit more of a progressive trail off towards the end? What are we sort of doing here? This is one of those ones where it's all about making sure that you're holding it pretty much all the way through, but you're trying to sort of not hold it completely flat. You're still trying to kind of curve off it towards the end, but you're not completely releasing it in a way, right? That's unfortunately what we're not doing in this situation. So for me, you can see I break, I peak, I hold. You can see I start to bleed, but it's not a very aggressive bleed. It's a very progressive bleed off, right? Which just makes sure that as in this sort of part of the corner where I'm starting to initially kind of rotate the car or starting to get it to rotate almost in a way, it's still having that sort of slowing down phase, right? It's still kind of washing off speed, and I'm still kind of getting to that point where it's still rotating and it's still slowing down, but I'm starting to angle it in a position of where it kind of needs to be, right? And that's obviously the key. For in our situation, you've broken earlier, you've held the brakes, but you start to release a little bit too early, right? You start to kind of drop the trail very, very early, which then has then made you have to have this kind of little bit of a harder reaction at the end because you've had to, otherwise you would have understeered a little bit, right? And that's it. That's literally it. That's the only thing that's costing you time here. It's just the fact of I've broken later, sorry. I've gone on the power earlier. You've broken earlier, and you've gone on the power later. So what's happened is you can get away with it in the way you're doing it. 100%. It's the type of corner where you could break earlier and get on the power earlier and it would be great. But the problem is that you've broken earlier and you've gotten on the power later, which means that there's no gain for you, right? Which means you lose 1/10, 1.3 tenths. And in all honesty, this is where you lose the most time on that. It's this corner right here. This is where it all goes. Unfortunately, it's just, yeah, a little minor thing like that. So is that something that maybe you felt in one way or another, or maybe didn't really pick up completely in a way, or how do you feel with that? Does that make sense? Just that little difference. You know what you need to do there. It's just did you think about that in a way? I suppose.
Yeah, I tried. I tried a lot of things here.
Okay.
So I was braking super early and way less brake pressure, and I was losing, I think, a bit more time than this, and I haven't
Yep.
pushed my braking marker to later. As I'm
Yep.
analyzing here with you right now, so I'm just having this insight. What I'm looking
Mm.
is like how my what's happening to the speed as I brake. And
Yep.
if you look at my speed, like I'm over slowing down because I went on the brakes earlier, but at the same
Yep.
brake pressure that you did. So that's why
Yep.
I start releasing, because like when you get to the phase that you start bleeding, we have the same
Mhm.
like speed, right? It's almost the same speed.
Yep. Yep.
So I feel that, but then like for some reason I don't have the rotation I want, so that's why I can
Yep.
hold on the brakes
You
for a little bit
increased.
longer, and that goes like to what
Mhm.
I've been talking for 6 weeks now. Like that's 8 meters when I hit the brakes. If I get that in the right spot, the rest of the
Mhm.
shape should follow because we can see that I'm
Yep.
reacting to the speed. It's not like I'm doing something with the brakes without thinking of what's
Mhm.
happening to the car. I'm actually reading
Mhm.
the car and I'm noticing like it's over slowing down, so let me bleed earlier, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then like, oh, I'm not getting the rotation, so let me just pump a little bit on the brakes here to get that settle in so I can go on the gas. And if you look my
Yep.
gas curve, like my throttle curve, I'm
Mhm.
understeering. Like I'm holding,
Yep.
holding, holding until I go
Yep. Yep.
100%
Yep.
because I don't want to go
Exactly.
like
Yep.
all the way on the grass. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
gotta work on that.
Yep. Yep. No, for sure. So yeah, look, ultimately, I think in those moments you just got to not hesitate, right? That's the important part. You can't hesitate. And at the end of the day, yeah, look, the thing is that yeah, you are going slower in. You're going slower in. It matches up, but that's only the only reason why it matches up is because you drop the brake right here.
Mm-hmm.
With the right trend, this would have continued being slower. You would have been slower up until about this point, right? About here, right? That's where you would have been slow to. From this point onwards, you realistically would have overtaken my trace. You would have overtaken my on throttle trace, and you would have been faster on the exit of the corner, right? So you've just got to be comfortable in the moments like that. That if you know you've broken slightly earlier, you've just got to be comfortable knowing, okay, I'm going to be going slower all the way into the entry of the corner here. That's okay. That's completely fine. I've just got to make sure that, okay, I am going slower, but I do need to also make sure that, I'm not overreacting to it and I'm not doing something differently to what maybe I should be doing. And then because of that, I make some sort of other sub reaction, right? So, in all honesty, I think it's just one of those cases where if you do break earlier, just commit to it. Just commit to it and don't allow yourself to kind of overreact to it almost in a way. Just stay firm with it, stay consistent with it, and that should allow you to give you the result that you're looking for. Whereas, yeah, if you're obviously you know, breaking earlier and then saying, oh, okay, well I know that it's probably going to be going a bit slower coming in here, don't make some other reaction because at the end of the day, unfortunately, that reaction makes some other reaction, and that other reaction then causes the whole corner to kind of not work in the proper way that it kind of needs to, right? So wherever you break, stick to the plan. Wherever you break, if it's early, if it's late, just stick to the plan. And no matter what way you do it, if you can always say that you're peaking, you're still holding, and then you're kind of trailing off as it kind of rotates in, then that's obviously okay. No matter where you break, you'll get the result. It will just mean that either your throttle will start earlier or your throttle will start later. But at the end of the day, that'll give you that gap of probably point 0.1, point 0.2, and that's it, right? And that's where you're looking for it. So does that make sense, that little bit of a different approach? I mean, you've got the right idea. It's just about making sure that it works in whatever moment that you're trying to make it work in, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, perfect. So that's all good there. So yeah, that's realistically your biggest point of loss on the track. Now, of course, because of the exit, you lose it down the straight as well here. So, you know, even though it's only 1.3, it turns into basically nearly a 1.8, 1.9 realistically. So, you know, nearly half your lap is gone already by the time you get to turn 2, or turn 3, I should say, sorry. So, you know, very big chunk of time that comes and goes through a corner like that, but you've just got to know how, and you've got to know why. And your why is just, yeah, that little sub reaction that you make to whatever the car's feeling. We just want to kind of let go of that almost in a way, and that'll really, yeah, help us out in that manner. So yeah, other than that, I think all really good there. Um, so 3 and 4. So of course, yeah, this was a section that, like you said, last season was a really big struggle point for us. This season, not really a struggle point at all. I mean, we're within half a tenth of each other here, which is insane because, in my opinion, you know, there's a lot going on in this sort of section, and to only be literally, you know, 0.44 away is pretty awesome. So yeah, I mean, look, in all honesty here, it's just going to be all of those little differences that we kind of have with each other, right? So in this case, you can obviously see that, you know, coming into turn 3, you brake a little bit later, right? Naturally, we are going there or thereabouts the same speed. I mean, you are 1 kilometer an hour more, sorry, less than me, obviously, in this case. Now, would that make enough reaction to make you feel like you'd want to brake that much later? It could. It definitely could. But I think ultimately, yeah, we just broke a little bit later here. Obviously, because we broke later, it made you hold on to the pressure a little bit more in the middle. Now, very interesting here, because you broke later, but then you picked up the power earlier almost in a way, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in one way or another, I kind of did what you just did at turn 1. I kind of did that here, where I didn't maybe hold the brake on for long enough at the end, and it made me then obviously take a little bit more time getting on the power, right? So I did it a little bit. I definitely did. I did exactly what you did at turn 1. Did it cost me as much though? No, it didn't, because again, completely different type of corner, and the exit response is completely different to what we're getting out of turn 1. So again, even for me, I do that little thing as well. And, you know, looking at this now, I'm probably like, oh, okay, maybe I could have held the trail a little bit more in the middle, and it would have allowed me to pick it up a little bit earlier. But I didn't. So I cost myself a little bit there. Now, obviously, what it does mean is that naturally I was maybe carrying just a little, ever so slightly, a little bit more momentum through the middle part, and you can see that right there. That as you go to pick up the power, and as I go to trail off, I'm 3 kilometers an hour faster, right? So my momentum at that point right there is a little bit quicker than you. So obviously, then everything gets a little bit delayed. Obviously, I pick up the power a bit later. I trail for a little bit longer to make sure it equals out, and then you can obviously see by the time I get to here, we're still basically there or thereabouts, same within a kilometer an hour. So it's pretty much identical. But then because at the end of the day, I am still going slightly faster up until this point, I brake earlier once again. I brake earlier, and I also brake softer. So realistically, the whole zone, I think is just it's in within margin of error, to be honest with you. You know, this half a tenth, you know, when you're in a racing situation, it's almost nearly impossible to get to that sort of zero point 0.0 mark here. It's just literally those little minor differences that maybe you feel because of the exit you got out of turn 1. Maybe you were coming in slightly slower, changed the reaction at the start, obviously reacted differently maybe in comparison to me to the middle of the corner based on what the car was feeling, and it just kind of gave you a little bit of a different result. But I mean, you know, the important part is here, man, is in all honesty, if we're worrying about little stuff like this, right, of only being half a tenth off. If you, first of all, feel like this is consistent, then that's obviously the main thing. But at the end of the day, if you remove corners like T1 and the exit of T1, you take away that 2 tenths, that turns into another half a tenth. You take away, obviously, in the latter part of the lap, as we'll see, we're 1.2 tenths away. If you take away that, obviously T9, you're actually faster, which is fantastic. And then you take away all the kind of bigger losses. Realistically, your lap already here goes from being 4.6 tenths away to already being basically 2 tenths away, right? And that's right within your zone. Now, does 2 tenths matter really at this track? In one way or another, no, not really. I mean, you know how the slipstream works in this car, especially with how close compacted this circuit is. If you have that 2 tenth buffer, I mean, with how much straight line phase there is at this circuit, it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. It goes like the wind, pretty much in the sense. So, you know, in qualifying, yeah, look, might make a difference. But it's more so a case of in the race, is it really going to make a difference? No, not really. I mean, everybody's going to be nearly the same pace if you're within that 1 or 2%. So, yeah, look, I mean, that's the question. Does this feel consistent for you in the way you've been doing it? Are you quite happy with how you've been taking it up until this point? Does it feel good for you?
Yeah, yeah. I think like this is
Yeah,
that's a fun like part of the track. What I'm looking
yeah,
here that could like probably close the gap a little bit further is if I
yeah,
go a little bit slower on the throttle, because I'm going like
yeah.
a little bit
Okay.
aggressive on the last part. I'm going a little
Yep,
bit
sure.
aggressive,
And you
then like
hold.
I
You gotta hold.
hold,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
takes me to the 100% a little bit later than you. And if you look on the speed
sure.
line, that's when
Yeah,
like you
I
gain the
get a bit more.
difference. Yes, I can see like
Yeah,
the second box is like the time difference. The first one is the speed.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
like where everything is happening. So if I can
yeah,
fix
sure.
that, it's gonna be a better sector. But I really like
Yeah,
this, like how it goes, how it
yeah,
flows.
yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. So no, it looks all really, really good. And again, it's always that factor in the matter that we're always looking at. If you can pick up the throttle and get back to 100% very easily, you win. If you have to take some time, then obviously you got to say, okay, well, did I either, first of all, rotate it enough, or did I just ultimately pick up the power too early, almost in a way? And if you can look at that and get the answer to that every single time, then yeah, obviously that's where the lap time can come from. But yeah, ultimately, I mean, you did pick up the power like a little bit later, but like you said, you did actually pick it up a little bit more aggressively than me, which there or thereabouts could have probably been the slight little issue that was going on with that exit there. And like you said, that's where a lot of the time disappeared on the exit. So yeah, just try and maybe do everything very similarly. Like I said, keep those little moments in mind through the middle of the sort of section with all the braking and stuff like that. But just try and be, yeah, maybe a little bit more tentative getting on the throttle initially out of basically the exit of turn four. And just try and, yeah, take your time with it a little bit because that will probably help you out quite nicely, I think, in all honesty. So, yeah, something to think about, something to consider. And I think if, yeah, you can do that, then that'll be super handy for you. So, yeah, something to think about, something to consider. But no, otherwise, they look very, very, very good otherwise. So that's all fine. Now up the hill, look, it's all pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously, look, T5 here, you do have to lift a little bit. Obviously, the biggest difference is of course, for me, because I'd be carrying more speed coming out of turn four, I'd have to lift more because you're carrying less speed, you can lift less. So probably if, yeah, that throttle out of four is a little bit more, a little bit more tentative and you can get to it quicker, it'll probably mean that you have to lift more coming through here, whereas right now you probably don't feel like you need to. So yeah, I mean, did you feel this corner change for you at all, depending on the previous section? Did you feel like one time you could go in harder, one time you had to lift off more? Did you feel that was ever an instance for you, or
100%. Like this
yeah,
is a
it was?
corner that tells me if my last corner was good.
Okay.
Because like my last corner was bad, I can cut in a lot on the
Yeah.
inside,
Okay.
but I don't go on fourth gear until I'm like going uphill.
Yeah.
If I did
Yeah.
well, I'm like up shifting right as I'm going through the right like the right hander,
Yeah.
and I have to lift like this. I don't get to cutting as much, otherwise I'm just gonna go straight. So it's an interesting one. Like this is a
Yeah.
good feedback of what just happened.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, look, that's just going to be situational dependent, but yeah, usually, like I said, if you're getting a really good exit out of four, you're going to be definitely lifting off more. Whereas if you yeah a little bit compromised out of the exit there, you're going to be lifting off less. So yeah, something to kind of base how you've gotten out of T4 almost in a way. You can base it on what you're doing through T5 here. So yeah, good little bit of information to take there. So that's all fine. Um, T6, so obviously that's just a kink. So again, that's going to be a follow through. So otherwise, that's all okay. So again, that's just another easy half a tenth thrown down the drain because of T5's exit, which is then caused by T4's exit. So yeah, it's just three bits of time
Mm-hmm.
being thrown away almost when you look at it. And when you look at that value right there, you've already seen two instances where there's 4 and 5. And those two numbers basically add up equal to a tenth realistically. You already go from being 4.6 to 1 to 3.6 just like that, plus the rest. So yeah, something to think about. So it's a lot closer than you think. It's just, yeah, you can see all the little things that are all adding up to one another. But T7 and 8, so yeah, I mean, in all honesty, we were very, very close in comparison to one another here. I think you can just see that, you went in a little bit harder with the throttle, you picked up the brake a little bit deeper, you were a little bit more aggressive with the initial phase upwards. Um, you can see your peak was softer, right? Your peak was softer ultimately at the end of the day. Now, yeah, I mean, realistically, you picked up the brake later, and you did pick up the throttle earlier, almost in a way. So again, this is one of those little situations where maybe maybe I could have washed off more speed towards the back end of the trail a little bit better. But in saying that again, you can also see that in the way that clearly I've carried speed through the corner, it's allowed me to come out of the corner with more pace. Now, whether that's just a fact of you can see here your steering inputs are a little bit more jagged than what mine are, so you can see that maybe you're having to like fight the car a little bit on
Yep.
the exit a little bit more than I am, which is meaning that it's not giving you that complete power output that you're looking for. You just feel like you don't have that exit traction that you may be looking for. Because you can see realistically, right? We both get the full throttle there or thereabouts exactly the same. You can see right at the top here, you've got a little bit of hesitation right here where you can't get to 100. You sit on, you're like 96, 97, 99, then you get to 100, right? So, there's a little bit of just time there where it takes you to get completely up to 100. But like I said again, you can see here you're turning in, and then the car's oversteering to the left, and then you're turning in, and then it's snapping to the left, and then you're turning right. So you can see there's a little bit of hesitation just there at the end, which, when you really see look at the whole zone, you can see, yeah, where the time disappears is basically from here onwards, really, right? And I mean, you can see with the lap time, right? Watch this. As soon as we get to this point right here, it stays pretty smooth. And then as soon as we get to this point right here,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3. It just keeps on going. So similarly to the other corners, it's just based on the way that the car has traction coming out of the corner. That's where the time is going, and obviously where the time is coming for me as well. Um, and yeah, so yeah, did you feel out of there you were struggling with traction
Yeah,
sometimes?
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
felt like you were,
I
yeah,
was
you
just
were
waiting for
okay.
it to finish. Like, what's happening to me there is, and I have to figure out how to fix it because I like just
Yeah,
looking at this, I don't know. But I'm going the brakes and I have the rotation as I go on the throttle, and you can see like a little bit
yeah,
of understeering. The car is kind of
yeah,
sliding, right?
yes,
So
yes,
sometimes it feels like it just grips and it goes around. Sometimes it
hmm,
slides a bit, and that's when it's sliding. I'm fighting with the wheel to make sure like it's getting straight before I hit the curb. Because if I hit the curb on the outside, or if I hit too much of the
yeah,
curb, it unsettles the car a lot. There's also kind
sure,
of like
yeah,
a deep thing there, so it just
yeah,
unsettles the car even more. And when I saw your video, you're kind of like doing this, getting the good grip, and you don't go like down that deep. So that's what I have
yeah,
to like fix here.
yeah, yeah, no, 100%. So yeah, no, look, I think it's just a mix of the little gaps like we talked about today, the little gaps that you can see in between, and again, to find those things are, so tough. It's so tough. But I think as well, just maybe just watch out a little bit and try and keep it in mind. Just try and be a little bit more progressive on the throttle. Don't try and be super duper aggressive initially with it, because you can see, yeah, there's instances like when we looked at turn 4, you can see right here, look how aggressive we are with the throttle.
Yeah,
Just try and maybe take your time a little bit with it more. The more that you can take your time with it coming out of here, it's probably going to balance the car out a little bit better. The more aggressive you are, the more issue that you're going to probably have between what you're doing and what you're feeling, right? So yeah, just try and keep that in mind, something to think about. But yeah, look, in all honesty, I think it's just one of those little things. But yeah, nonetheless, very very sort of little amount of time that honestly is a really really big amount of time that for you is going to make a super duper big difference. Um, so yeah, something to consider there, but otherwise really good. Obviously, 9 is the final corner. So, in all honesty, you did this really really well. This was a prime example of doing everything right between the both of us for what we both did. I broke earlier, I got on the power earlier. You broke later, you got on the power later. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this phase right here, by you breaking later and then breaking that little bit harder, by trailing off a little bit earlier, you gained a heap of speed coming out, right, on the exit. But this is the thing you got to look at now. You gained 0.031 here, but you lost 0.49 coming up to here, right? The only reason why is because I rotated the car more here. I washed off more speed here, which allowed me to get on the power earlier here, and I got more exit speed coming out of here, carried up to here. Whereas for yourself, you carried the speed here by dropping the brake, got you on the power later there, meant you got slower coming out of the corner there, and it carried all the way up. So this is one of those situations, the gain versus loss. You gained 0.031, but you lost 0.049. So in the end, you lost 0.018, right? So this is one of those really, really minor areas where it's kind of like, where's the beneficiary here? Is it better to do it kind of compensate more through turn 9 to gain versus through T10, which is just obviously a kink? Or is it better to compromise through T10 and get a better run through T9 to then obviously just gain the time through there? But otherwise, the way you did it ultimately was faster. It was faster. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it was. But it was more so a case of, was that way faster than when you look at it, going forward? It wasn't as fast as it could have been, right? But again, that's that kind of, that kind of little margin where it's kind of like, well, okay, in the end, it's 0.018. Is it really worth changing it? If you're comfortable with it, is it really worth changing it? Because at the end of the day, 0.018 compared to where you look everywhere else, we're seeing the 0.04s, we're seeing the tenths, the 2 1/10 sections, we see the 0.05s, we see all those little areas there. Is it beneficial? No, not really. So if you feel comfortable doing it in the way like this and you can stay consistent, be my guest. But if you feel like you'd want to try it in a way where you may be losing more through 9 to gain more coming out of 9, coming up to the start finish line, then also give that a go as well. So what's your thoughts with that? How do you feel like that with that in your sort of context of things at the moment?
No, yeah, I think it's I think it's always like better to fix the corner exit, because this was a
Yeah,
short kink, right?
yeah,
But like if it's Monza, it's not gonna be like 0.049. It's gonna be like 3/10,
correct.
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's a super
yeah.
long straight.
Oh,
So it makes sense. Like
mhm,
I here is one that's kind of, I think it's tricky as well, because if you're not really committed to what we're doing, you're gonna spin or you're gonna go off track.
mhm.
But I'm trying
Yeah,
to remember here, and I think there was like um, more track on the exit that I could have used,
yes.
which means I could have carried
Okay.
a little bit more speed on the
Yeah,
exit. So maybe I'll go in the power like a little bit earlier, which should have like
yeah,
fixed this issue. So there's like fine
yeah,
tuning, but
yeah,
that's how I think I'm
yeah.
gonna fix it.
Yeah, okay, for sure. So yeah, like literally that's all it is, right? You can hold the brake harder towards the end there where there's that drop pretty much. And you can then obviously, yeah, like you said, pick up the power earlier because of that. So yeah, no, look, honestly, Alan, I think really interesting day today. I think a lot of very valuable information to take away, both in a racing sense at the beginning of today, but also in the sense of looking here at Oulton. Um, the great thing will be is that we are going to revisit this T1 again next week because
Uh-huh.
obviously we have Oulton Park International. So it'll be good to see, obviously, and check over it again and see how it obviously is going because, of course, yeah, that pretty much in one way or another is where you lose, yeah, pretty much the most time on the lap, and it is the most important section really for setting your lap up in the right way. So yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see. But yeah, does it give you a good insight to see, okay, when you sit there and think, okay, maybe, I haven't gained as much as I maybe wanted to, or there's still that little bit of a gap that I'm looking for. There's situations like this, and I guess weeks like this, like today, where you can see it's really silly, just little different application sort of, processes that is where the time sort of is. Does that kind of give you a little bit of a confidence boost in saying like, okay, well, in all honesty, this is probably just a little bit more of a track time thing, but also as well just trying to evaluate, like you said before, the corners a little bit better in sort of an individual sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like what we
Yeah.
discussed in the beginning also about like the mindset during a race, and then like about actually being more intentional, like having more practice sessions, even if they're
Mm.
offline. I think like the
Yeah.
combination of what I have to do, more practice
Yeah.
time is gonna help like closing the gap, and
Yeah.
then like during the race, not destroying my own race is gonna be like
Yeah.
what's gonna ultimately help me like get better results.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, no, look, I think a really good week here. And to be honest, I think I'm really happy again. I think from where we were last time we were here at the beginning to where we are now, we can't look past it and say, yeah, it's come a long way, which is obviously amazing. I think, yeah, to see where the difference is though, I think it just shows you even in your mind that, we are looking at such minor sort of margins with it all. But at the end of the day, there's one or two different philosophies realistically that you're looking at here. It's either you're holding and you're trailing, or there's obviously a case that there's areas where you're trailing and then you're getting back on the power. And it's that difference where, either I'm holding or you're trailing off earlier that it's making me it's making me sort of get more rotation, whereas it gives you less. And that's the difference where we're looking at 400s or 600s or 800s or 9 or whatever it may be. That's the difference, right? So yeah, if we can change that, and if we can kind of think about that more sort of intuitively in the moment and say, okay, just try and delve into a little bit deeper. And that's, again, the whole reason why the practice is very important. If we can do that, I think that's going to be really good. So, yeah, man, look, I'm very happy. I think it's going to be a good week for you, Oulton. Again, I think it can be a very good week for you still here in Virginia. Obviously, you're away this weekend, so you won't have much time. But obviously, yeah, more so the fact of, coming into early next week, you have a little bit more opportunity. And then especially coming into Oulton, I think it'll be a good week for you there as well. So, yeah, man, look, give it a go. See how you get on. And, we'll be back at Oulton next week anyway for the international. So we'll be able to re-go over some of the topics here anyway next week. So it'll be good to have a little bit of a re-look over. So, yeah, man, no, look, really well done again. And, good luck for this weekend as well. Hopefully all goes okay. And, I'll catch you back for normal time at 10 p.m. on your Thursday night.
Yeah,
I think it
next
was
week.
Thursday night. Yep.
Yeah.
Back to normal. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll
Cool,
get
sir.
up to that. So, well, all good. So let's have a look there. Have a good weekend. All the best, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, man. See you next time. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Really appreciate it.
Brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Have a good night. See you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bro. Good night, man. Bye.
All right. So that was our coaching session. I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn on the chat here so I can hear what you guys are saying. I'm thinking about racing one more in Virginia. Do you guys have any thoughts? If you have any thoughts, you have like a total of 15 seconds to say something. Because let's just do it. I want to have like a consistent race. No crashes. Like whatever happens, happens. But I want to have like the mentality that I need to have in the weekend during a race, and race is like higher stakes. So I think that's going to be a good one.
Craig Walder said, just here for the show, whatever you choose.
Yeah, let's race. I think like we just talked about practicing more, but I will have to practice more like when I come back from my trip. Maybe I'll find a sim rig there somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and I'll put some lap times as well. But I think for today, I really want to finish the week at Virginia with like the feeling that we had a decent learning week. And we had a win, so I'm not chasing the win. We had a podium. I'm not chasing a podium anymore. What I'm really chasing now is like putting a race that I'll be proud of myself. What did you guys think about the coaching session? What's your takeaway? What is the thing that you've learned, if anything, right? But from everything we said, what's the one thing that you guys think you can carry to your own practice sessions, to your own like racing journey? At rest. We've raced at rest before.
Craig Walder said, I think you are closer than the times showed.
What do you mean? Let's see
Craig
what we can
Walder
do.
said, there was really only 2 spots. If you fix that, you are within 1 to 2/10 of his time then.
Yeah, but it's so hard, man. It's so hard. You know, like, when because I do my analysis as well, the telemetry, most times, and I'm looking like, hey, I have to do X, Y, Z, but like, executing it, it's just so hard. So like in theory, it's not that different. But in practice, the theory is very different. That should be in a t-shirt. That should have been a t-shirt. So now is the time they're gonna like try to be fast. Then it goes to qualify or do our best. And then during the race, we're just gonna be consistent. But like on the other side, if you think about it, he's a
Craig
pro.
Walden
Like he's not very
said,
good. He's a pro.
I
so-
got down to a 33-1 at Virginia tonight, was consistent in 33s finally.
Nice, nice, nice. 33.1. Would be like the. I was looking at the times, and I'm cutting off track. But that time would be like the second best time on this session. You're good to race, man. Do you wanna join the next one, or like, are you already in the kitchen or somewhere else?
Craig Walter said, I already got you on the tube and I am kicked back in recliner LOL.
So I'm gonna be representing you tonight. Gotcha. I'm representing our From Rig to Road family.
New fast flat for you.
No bueno. If I go sideways there, it's not gonna be good.
New fast flat for you.
One more lap. One more lap. Okay, it's okay. Let's remember our goal. Have a good start and race. The goal is to have a race we can be proud of. Not the fastest lap, not a win, not a podium, not gaining a rating. It's setting our mindset for the race that's coming this weekend. If I go too late on the brakes there, this happens, so let's go to race session. Oops.
You're going the wrong way.
Oh really?
You've got a lot of smoke.
No kidding. Alright, let's see who is here.
Esdras Chaves
Oh.
said, "Good evening. Where's the race this weekend?"
Good evening. Let me see here on the side. South Carolina. Carolina Motorsport Park. Carolina. They just call it CMP, so let's just call it CMP. Track. So here's the track layout. So we start and we have like a short or like a 90-degree short straight when you start. Left-hander, then it's a right-hander. This is like a left sweeper, so you can go like full. Here's like a hard medium braking zone. You come in here, then you brake again here, and try to do this as one. But there is like some like some modulation there. Here we go downhill, so we have to brake here. Then go on the gas. Then this one here is full on the gas. This one here is also full on the gas. And you're carrying a lot of speed here. This one's a hard brake. And then you want an early apex. This is like the Charlotte one, Charlotte's Web. So when I can early apex, go and coming back here, cut it in, brake, early apex, and then you go opening up, hard braking zone, and finish. So I did some like a Assetto Corsa practice there, which I don't think translates as well as iRacing, to be honest. Justin was like, he's just skyrocketing his... Oh, maybe this is his main account. Let's see. No, he's just skyrocketing his iRating. Alexander, Daniel. Hello, Alexander. Hello, Daniel. Good to see you guys. Alexander was yesterday in our race, saying like he was just behind us and I spun by myself. So would have finished like 2 and 3, but then I screwed it up. And Daniel's very fast. He's very good. He's coming from Forza, so he's picking up. He's picking it up. But he's struggling with racecraft. That's what we're talking about after the race. All right, here we go. Here we go. That's the race of the night. The one race of the night. Let's close this in a good. We have fast, good drivers. The drivers we respect. Justin is gonna be like a 31 point something, so unfortunately still out of our league. Everything went wrong here. I'm just glad it's an outlap. So let's focus on getting that one last exit right. This one here. One thing that I forgot to ask Jenny
Green.
is if I'm taking too long
Here comes your first time lap.
to upshift the car. Let me focus here.
One more lap.
32.5. I went super late on the brakes. I got distracted for a second, so that didn't help. Okay.
Alright, there's the checkered flag.
Alright. So they're like below 32. We are not like... That's above our league. Let's focus on having like a good race. Good start. Consistent, focused. Like I'm gonna be in a car for 2 hours non-stop, right? Which means it's very hard for you to stay focused after like half an hour. The thoughts go everywhere. Like your brain just like goes wherever your brain wants to go. Something that's happening at work, family stuff. Let me try to get this one right. It was better, but not good. I think everybody has posted a lap. In terms of pace, of qualified pace, we are like a full 0.7 from P4. Let's see like if other people are still posting fast laps. Do I have no? You know what? I'm gonna go to the restroom. I'll be right back. So we'll go to the restroom before the race. Not like as we're greeting, which I usually do. All right, we are back. Yeah. Daniel's like, don't kill me again. Yeah, he has all the right. Yeah, I'm strategizing here with Daniel, so I don't kill him again. Let's go, guys. Let's go. That's the race of the night. So let's hope this goes well.
The estimated SOF is 1,896. Green flag, green flag. Left side. Stay on the right. Clear.
Good. We survived turn 1. Let's remember we have more pace, like 7/10 at least in the qualifying. And let's use that to our advantage. Okay, we're a full second ahead of the car behind. We know the cars ahead have more pace, so now is the time we focus on our race. They are the ones who have the pace
There's an
to
infinite
fight.
behind. Ten minutes to go.
P4 died. And right now I'm telling myself to relax. So let's relax here. Holding the steering wheel too tight. Shoulders are tight. Okay, it's okay, it's okay. That's okay.
Slow down. You got a penalty for cutting the cord.
I think that was like a bit unfortunate, more than like me doing something wrong. I mean, it was a mistake, of course. Let's lift.
The car in P1 just set the fastest lap. 31.865.
No pushing, no pushing. We like comfortable pace. Let's find what a comfortable pace is. And now we gained some time again, like from P4. So we clearly have much more, like a much better pace, which means focus on our race, right? No risks. Gotta keep reminding myself of that. Can I be faster here? Probably. Do I want to be faster here? No. And that's okay. That's okay. So my mindset right now is
5 minutes to go.
in the places that it is safer to just be faster, I'll be as fast as I can. The places that are trickier, we're gonna be a little bit more cautious. It's not qualifying. The cars ahead are like 3.5 seconds. Car behind is even further back, so... Right now, our race is against P3. P3 is the only one who can take this away from us, so let's... Remember the BMW mentality. Would BMW be happy for P3? Probably, because they also have P2 and P1. Think about it. So... Let's keep our car in one piece. My pace right now is like 33.0. More than enough. More than enough for this race. My fastest lap was 32.15. So a comfortable last corner here feels like this. Early braking. We're just now like we're 0.20. 2
The leader
tenths.
just did a 32.298.
And then 32.4, so like same pace. He's just really controlling the race. So are we. We already got like a black flag for the or a penalty right at 1 second for going off track, so
Last lap.
let's just bring the car home. Let's just bring the car home.
Court Easy said, you have to change the way you post the shorts on YouTube and Instagram.
What's going on? All right. This was a good way of finishing our week, right? We started P3, finished P3. 6 seconds from like the car behind.
Lucky I got trapped behind,
Alright,
Michael.
there's the checkered flag.
Last year, lucky,
Court
brother.
Easy
You're really
said,
lucky.
Let's see what's
I
going on.
ran Virginia with the Mazda and the car feels super light compared to Mustang. I couldn't control it on some turns.
Oh yeah, the Mazda is insane here. The Mazda is just insane here. We can do like a 1 lap in the Mazda here. All right, I'll save this. I won't race. I'll just do it for fun. Cause okay, close. But let's go to the Mazda, to the open session. Oh, we also have a car paint for the Mazdas as well. We have them all. 27 minutes. Let's go in here. Let's see. What's the lap time here for the Mazda? They have much more competitive SOFs, by the way. 34.9. Because I haven't raced in a Mazda, I think if we do a 37, I'll be happy, to be honest. If they're
Court
like,
Easy
if the aliens are doing like 34,
said,
35.
because you need to put the video of your car racing when you're talking on the shorts, like maybe on top of your head, it would be better for viewing.
So, I'll tell you a secret. This is how smart I am. I use an app that takes the videos and does all the things for me, right? There is one button that you can click and you say it's gameplay. and it takes the face, puts one place, and the gameplay in the other one. And I did like that thing for maybe like 3 or 4 different videos before I learned it. So before you see good stuff coming out, you're gonna see a lot of crappy stuff coming out. And it is a pain in the butt to do those things like manually. So I'm like, you know what?
Said,
It's getting views.
good race Alan, I'm glad we both survived today.
Yes. Hey, Daniel. Was like very good race, man. Very good race. And I think that's the right thing to do. Like you tuck in, you stay straight. Like you don't go like to the side. Stay straight. Stay straight. Just trust the car in front of you and the car behind you. If they have like decent iRatings, trust they're gonna brake on the right place. Because what I'm doing in turn 1 is surviving P4. You saw like how P4 tried to overtake both of us on the outside. So it's just trying to survive that. But very good race, very good pace, and very good like mindset on controlling the race once P1 was gone. Because like you were gone, P6 was like super behind. So I'm not gonna push here. I'm just wanna finish today. But thanks for joining the stream as well. Very good stuff, man. Very good stuff. You're gonna be like a 4K in no time. You have a lot of pace. A lot of pace. I don't even know what your iRating is right now. Maybe you are already at 4K. Now I just wanna feel like how the Mazdas feel
Go
here.
left.
Because that's the first car I ever driven here.
Said, LOL, yeah, I took your advice to chill once I realized I couldn't catch P1.
It's insane how it works, right? All you had to do is stay like ahead of me. You had like 2 full seconds, no reason to push. And you had like more, 3 and something. Then you start controlling it. Got a P2. P2 better than P11, my friend. Even better when...
Said, I'm 2-1K, I've only done 30-ish races so far.
You're like, I'm telling you, you're gonna be like, if you stay on this course, you're gonna, in 2 weeks, depends on how many races you do as well, but in 2 weeks you're gonna be a 4K. If you're doing like 4 or 5 races a day, like with no DNFs, just staying strong, start from a good position, defend the position turn 1, defend the inside, right? And then, yeah, just stay consistent. It's good to race like people like you. You're a smart driver. I felt so bad that day. Like what happened there was I had like a better start than you did. Come on. Don't crash. I had a better start than you did. So you came in like once in front of me and then went to the left side. And then I was like, yo, I have space now to tuck in here. And when you came back,
Court easy.
you hit like the front of my car, the back of your
that
car.
same turn, haha.
It's hard, right? Like we were here on that corner, on that like start.
You got it, slow car.
You
on the
came
right.
in and out, and when you came in again, like I was already there. So, bro, like it's a right-hander
Car on
here.
your left. Clear on the left.
The Mazdas are so fun to drive. Like you just ignore every single thing you know about car racing, and you abuse them. Like they love like.
Said, yeah, I realized I should be just kept to the right.
Yeah, like this time you did it perfectly. You were kind of going a little bit to the left, which if I didn't know what we were trying to do, I would probably brought my car a little bit to the right, but just like stay tucked in.
Said, racing vs Forza AI is a bit different from iRacing, haha, still learning.
So, what's like, how is it different for you? Because I haven't raced that yet, so I just don't know. I just know like you're able to translate a lot because you are very fast, so you were probably very decent there. What's the rating system there, and what's your rating there? Let's start there. An interview, guys. Live interview for you. So not second gear, this is third gear. We just learned it. Alright, I'll give myself 2 chances to have a fast lap here.
Said, I only played VSAI cause I didn't have stable internet.
That was your fastest lap of the session.
Said. First time in my life racing real PPL.
Oh, gotcha. Well, you're doing super well, buddy. Like, it's... You have the skill, you have the talent, just gotta continue grinding. And you're a guy, like, who's open to learn. A lot of people here think they know everything. And being humble and, like, just learning from the mistakes and, like, asking questions. There was once I was racing, I think was Daytona. This was before the coaching with Gianni. But I was racing in Daytona. And there was like a 4-point-something K guy there. People start asking questions after the race was over. And he was answering them like, oh yeah, like, here you do this, there you do that. Like, yeah, like, let's rewatch this incident. This person's fault because of this. So if you stay open-minded, you're gonna learn from the good people from the community. Just don't get in the iRaging mode, because that doesn't take you anywhere. A lot of people pretend this is more important than it actually is, so don't be one of those. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. Make sure you do. I'm live every single day, except for Sundays, 10 p.m. Eastern. But this, like tomorrow through Monday or through Sunday, I'll be in South Carolina in a real life race. So if you want to follow that, I'm going to have a lot on Instagram.
3 was much cleaner.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, third gear, right? I immediately felt last time I went to second gear, the car just like oversteered. And I had to, like, you see here, like oversteering. A third gear in this situation, not oversteer. The thing with the Mazda, like, you use the gears to help more, in my opinion, use the gears more than the brakes sometimes to help you induce rotation. Because different from the BMW, like, this just goes down, you see, like, and you can brake your engine, so, like, you just have to know, like, the Mazdas, you have to know how to induce rotation and how to save it. The race, in my opinion, it's all about it. I'll do one more lap. I'll do one more lap. And also, Daniel, in case I still have you, we have a Discord server. I've been trying to have a... Oh, you're still there.
I wish I had more time to grind.
All of us, buddy. All of us. All of us. Time is the one constraint for everybody here. We do have a Discord server that's in the description. And I've been trying for a long time to have at least 10 people so we can have like a fun hosted session for ourselves.
Are you planning on racing M2S next season?
Next season, I'll probably race the GT4s. That's my plan. Either GT4 or GT3. This is my second season on them M2s, so I need to do like... I need to graduate and like try something that's gonna teach me something else, but also get in the grind of like learning new tracks every week.
Yes, I've been waiting for the server lobby.
Right, like we have a lot of people like Esdras, we have Cortez, we have Craig, Storm, since like he is probably on his honeymoon or something. But we have Derek, who's also there. We have a lot of people. We just have a lot of people. We just need like 10 people to show up. And the more we have there, higher the chances we'll have enough. Probably could have done everything in second gear.
Andres as well. Said. Oh nice, I wanted to do another full season of M2, was also deciding between GT4 GT3 up next.
But I'm telling, like, if you are very fast already, like you have a good handling of the car. I'm thinking here, what would I recommend you?
Left.
Should I try another lap? I'll try another lap because we are having a good conversation. What I would say is you already have a very good handle of the car and likely
Just set your fastest lap of the session.
very good skills, right?
Slow car ahead.
Just from the pace you have, I feel that's a safe. We're gonna crash. We're gonna crash. Yeah. This guy. Let's
You're on the left.
say like this guy
Rewind.
wasn't
Clear. You've got wheel damage.
okay. The wheels like this.
We've got damage on the back end.
37.2. Not bad
Reduced
for like
aero might slow you down on the straight.
this amount of time. Maybe you have like good enough skills to handle like the GT4s and start learning from that. I didn't like last season. I really sucked. That's why I started coaching sessions, and I learned a lot. So if you go, let me show you here, and I have to do a better job on keeping up with those things as well. But
Again. Said. I've got good pace but lack consistency cause I lose focus randomly trying to train that a bit more.
so like that's not the car, right? That's your mindset. So you have pace,
Estras
you have the
Chaves
skills.
said. I think I'm doing Porsche Cup.
Porsche Cup, okay, you're going like all. Oh, you're going fancy. You're going fancy. So I'm thinking here. I'm still thinking. I'm still debating. My plan is, and by the way, like we have coaching sessions, like all of them are recorded here, and we have like 12. I just have to update the list. But if you want to hear more like of what's going on in them too, like my journey. But in the beginning, I sucked. Like I was really bad, and I'm now at a point that I'm decent. But I'm in between the GT4, like 70% is telling me GT4, and 30% GT3. I won't do Porsche Cup yet. I'm planning to do like GT4 next season, see how that goes, and then transition to GT3 for several reasons. Like I think it's a good like learning curve. I might stay another season on GT4s depending on what we're learning, what we're working on. It's gonna get trickier because if you go to the GT4, or even like the GT3, right? Let's see the other one because it's just Asian. Every week, or most of the weeks, you have to learn the track. So non-license, this one. If you look here, the full season is somewhere. Where is the full season? I used to know how to see the full season, but schedule. The full season is here. I don't have Adelaide, never raced there. I'd have to learn the track. I have Sebring, never raced there. Learn the track. Sonoma, learn the track. Donington, learn the track. Barber, I know the track. But it's a pay track, so gotta learn the track. Nürburgring, learn. Oschersleben is a free one, I know. Laguna Seca is a free one, I know. I might race it. Coda, I have to learn the track. I have this one, I have to learn it. So if you look the full season, I have to learn like a track every single week. So it adds complexity. And you're learning the car, learning the track. I might stay 2 seasons on GT4s because of this. And then promote myself to GT3 next year. But it really depends on the learning curve. It just depends on what I'm doing, how I'm doing. And then like at your level, where you are right now, you could easily go to GT4, GT3, like you just where you want to be, what you want to race. Because like you don't know any of the free tracks, right?
Said.
I know all of them.
How long do you take to learn a new track before racing?
That's a biased question. So I would say for me, like to start posting fast laps, it takes me a good hour. If it's like a completely new track, it takes me 1 hour. What I do, like I go, and I have a video about it as well. It's like the BMW driver mentality. What I do, I go to the track and I go like 60%. I go super early on the brake. Like I treat the car as if BMW had paid my flight ticket to go there, test that car on that track, and BMW because it's M2, right? But manufacturer paid my flight tickets, my hotel, my meals. They paid everything. They closed the track to see me racing there. So how would I approach that in real life? Number one, I don't want to crash the car. I don't want to smash the car against the wall. I don't want my session to last like 5 minutes, right? I want to have like a long session. So that's the mentality I have. I go the out lap just trying to see the track, where it goes, where the grip is. Very slow, like it's like a 50%. And then once I go to my first lap, I push a bit, but super early on the brakes, okay to like over slow down on the corners, and then I go the first like lap, and depends on the length of the track. Like shorter tracks you learn faster, longer tracks, if it's Le Mans, like it's a 4-minute track, so it takes you longer to learn it. But I just go like increasing the pace like 5%. So I start like at 60%, then I go 65%, then I go 70%, then I go like 75%. You get the idea. I go, and for some corners I just learn them like, or I just get the right braking point after 2-3 laps. Some corners it takes me like 10 laps to get the right braking point. But I feel like after 1 hour with no crashes, just picking up the pace, I'm already like posting what's close to my personal best. And then from there, it's truly like refinement more than anything else. Does that help? I hope it helps. I hope it helps, because that's how I approach. So 1 hour, 1 hour-ish. But it's like, if it's a track that I already know, that 1 hour goes into posting a fast lap. So I can improve a lot if I know the track. If I don't know the track, I have like a reference time. Then I'll improve like 1-2%, and I have to find those 1-2%. But that's me. That's me. That's me. Maybe you're gonna learn like faster, maybe slower. My whole point, I should be looking at the camera. My whole point is, if you're learning a new track, don't try to be fast. You're gonna naturally become faster. Just try to not crash. Try to have 0 off tracks. Spins are fine, like small off tracks are fine. They're the learning process. But try to have control of the car 100% of the time. And you just learn super fast.
Damn, that S pretty fast veer was new to me, and I did 2-3 HRS.
But like, was it 2 to 3 hours of clean laps? Or like after lap 5, or just like trying to go for hot laps after hot laps? And then like you're crashing onto a wall, you were like spinning, going off track, having to reset the car. Because that's where you lose time. Like that's really where you lose time. When you have to go reset the car, go for an out lap, and then go for hot lap, you crash, reset the car. And after 15 minutes, you were more like resetting the car and doing corner like turns 1, 2, and 3 than anything else.
Lots of crashes, LOL.
Yeah, that's 2 hours. Of your 3 hours, 2 hours was like crashes and resetting and learning turn 1 again. Like that's what happens to everybody. So try it. Try next week. We have Oulton. Oulton is much easier.
Said, I only have like 6 HRS per week, so I'm a bit impatient.
And that's exactly the reason why you need to be very strategic about learning the track. Like that's it. You just, if you had like 20 hours, then like doesn't matter. But if you have 6 hours, you gotta learn the track like in half an hour to 1 hour. Oulton Park is a 1-minute track, like it's this layout. So 1 minute, it's 1 minute, right?
Said, oh man, I'm gonna be out for 2 weeks.
Oh, so we're gonna lose like Oulton Park. Let's see what's the next one. You're missing Oulton Park. Oh, Lebanon, that's a beach. So Lebanon is look at it. Just look at it. So the way it goes, you start from here. It's a fast left-hander. Then you go on the brakes and kind of trail brake all the way to here. Hopefully you can see my pointer here. And then it's a left corner, you cut in a lot. You come straight, hard brake, hairpin, go wide on the exit. Then you come here. And here gets interesting because there is like elevation. So here you brake, you go around this corner. So you brake here, you go on the outside, then you go on the inside here. For this one, and this is downhill. So there's a lot of, the car gets very unstable. So you want to come all the way to the left. You brake early, or much earlier than you'd think, because it's like a downhill. Sharp right, So here you go on the gas, get the car straight, hard brake again. You go around this one is uphill. So you go uphill, touch on the brake, left-hander, hard braking around this corner. And then once you're on this corner, you go
Ken
like cutting a lot here,
said,
straight.
That was a tough one last season.
Oh, so you raced this one already. Okay, so if you know the like if you know the track, it helps. But because I'm here, I'm gonna complete like this is a tough one as well because it's a left-hander uphill, and if you don't do it well, you go wide, you spin, you go in. So, and if you don't do it well, you lose a lot of time here. So that's a 1 hour track to learn. And this was actually the track that I came up with the BMW mentality thing. I'm gonna look at the camera. I'm looking at the chat. So this is the one that I came up with the BMW mentality because I was crashing non-stop. I was just crashing non-stop. So I'd come out, I'll go around here, get excited, crash somewhere here, and then reset, and then reset. And I was like, you know what? I have to be able to complete one freaking clean lap. So how can I do it? I'll just like think I cannot crash the car at any cost. I cannot embarrass myself. And then I put one lap. I finished one lap. And I'm like, okay, again, don't crash. Like, actually, that wasn't a bad lap. Let me try to like improve here. And then after a few laps, I put like the active reset. I don't know if you know it, because you're new to iRacing. There's like an active reset that you can set up. I have on my wheel the shortcuts. And then if something goes wrong, you just go back here. But I only have my active reset once I'm very familiar with the track and I'm pushing for hot laps. Then I just go for hot laps. And if I crash, doesn't matter. I know what's coming next. I know how to do what's coming next. I'm looking for like a 10th, 2/10, like half a second to improve my lap time. So that's it. That's it for today. I gotta go to bed because tomorrow I gotta wake up, get everything for the race ready, put in the trunk, and then drive to to South Carolina. It's a 4.5 hour away drive. My car does the car that I travel does like 15 gallons per mile, so I have to like maybe 1 or 2 stops on my way. And thanks a lot for everybody who joined. Thanks a lot for joining, Daniel. It's very good to have you here. It's very good to race you. I'm super excited to see like your improvement, your like
Thanks
trajectory.
for the tips, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this channel is all about growth and growing together. And my goal is to become a pro driver one day in real life. If not that, at least a very good amateur driver. That's why I have the in real life races.
CYA on the track and good luck on your road to 4K.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll see you around. If you guys want to follow the journey on my real life racing this weekend, follow my Instagram from Rig to Road. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday here. Thanks again.